Hey guys, William P. Brown coming at you, and we have these wild Cordyceps mushrooms, Cordyceps Militaris mushrooms. So I've been looking all around as I've been hunting different chanterelles, which really we haven't found many chanterelles, just some minors. But I've been looking for chanterelles, and I've also been looking for Cordyceps all season. My friend Jeff has been posting Cordyceps mushrooms for over a month now, so it means the season started early, and he's only in Western Pennsylvania, so I figured living in central and like being able to go to like west central Pennsylvania, that I should be able to find some of these Cordyceps mushrooms. So I've been looking for over a month now. I found Talipocladium ophioglyphoides. I've also found Ophiocordyceps ravenelli, but I haven't found the Cordyceps militaris. So I just stumbled upon these beautiful Cordyceps militaris mushrooms. We have 3 fruiting bodies here. Potentially they're all from the same host, which would be pretty awesome. And we also have another one here. This one just looks like a Cheeto. We got these ground Cheetos growing here. Cordyceps mushrooms are entomopathogenic fungi in the order Hypocreales. And these are true cordyceps. So typically, when we're talking about Tibetan cordyceps, we're talking about Ophiocordyceps. And these are actually true Cordycepitaceae cordyceps mushrooms. And them being entomopathogenic means that they grow on these insects. Typically in Pennsylvania, we're finding them on moth pupae, sphinx moth pupae. But cordyceps are some of the most successful Cordyceps militaris are some of the most successful cordyceps mushrooms because they have the potential to grow on over 32 different species of insects in Lepidoptera, which includes butterflies and moths, on their larvae, pupae, and full adult forms. And then they also can grow on beetles, on larvae, pupa, and adult forms. The cordyceps mushrooms are great energy tonic. As you've seen some of my other videos, I've been growing these mushrooms for a long time. I've been growing them for about 3 or 4 years now, and I was the first person to post any English literature on cultivation techniques. So since then, we've seen a lot of people getting into cultivation, and finding wild specimens are so important for cultivation because we need new genetics very often. Cordyceps senesce quicker than most mushrooms, typically between 6 and 9 months. We see them lose the potential for commercial fruiting. So we have people like Ryan Gates, who's working on new breeding techniques, which hopefully we can get him to write a piece for the new book on breeding cordyceps mushrooms. But with the new breeding techniques, it's helping to extend how long we'll have these cultures and how their potential, how beneficial they'll be, or how much yield we'll get off of them for commercial potentials. But always finding new cultures is going to be the best bet for keeping vigorous commercial genetics. So because we have so many people with their eyes on them over the past couple years, with the work that we've done on getting these into cultivation, we see more people finding genetics, and one of the really cool things that we've been doing is breeding and interbreeding genetics from different parts of the state and different parts of the country, which I think is going to be very beneficial moving forward for creating these beautiful commercial genetics. So again, just some quick facts. They're good for your adrenals, they're good for lung health, they can help you get more oxygen into your body. They're a great energy tonic, they're a beautiful aphrodisiac for men and women. These are one of my favorite mushrooms. So I'll get back to you guys in just a moment with harvesting these mushrooms.
So kind of just like a brief instruction on what it is that he's doing right now, but the focus is to get as far under the mushroom as you can so that you can keep the grub or pupae attached, because something will pop up. You never want to...
Also, I'm trying not to damage them by moving the moss around them and break them off of the pupae. You can see how the moss is like moving them.
Yeah. So you'd never want to just pluck this out of the ground.
Yeah, it would be a waste. I mean, there's just as much medicinal properties in the mycelium in the bug as there is in the fruiting bodies. And don't worry about like damaging the moss or damaging the soil or anything like that. If you ever follow a bear through the woods, they like rough up the woods pretty good.
So why don't you give it a view of just the underside of the moss, just because I think that's really cool. Like, this is where it likes to live.
I mean, the moss helps provide like a nice humid layer.
Yeah.
Typically, with these, the host isn't that far away. When we're like working with Talipocladium, the truffle parasitizing cordyceps, typically the host is like pretty far down.
I'm hoping this is one.
I mean, there's other small fruiting bodies down in here. Yep, it's one.
Oh, nice. I love that.
There we go.
Amazing.
One moth pupae, multiple fruiting bodies, and even more starting to pin off of it from down here. This white stuff here is the mycelium, this white fuzzy stuff. You can see the mycelium right here. And if I crack open this moth, there will be more mycelium inside. It's just going to be completely mummified and full of mycelium. The only thing left of the insect is the exoskeleton at this point. Well, this is so beautiful. This is one of my favorite things, one of my favorite mushrooms, one of my favorite things to find, Cordyceps militaris.
Love it. We're gonna pull up this one next, right?
Yeah.
Do you still want to?
Yeah, sure. One thing I would like to note is that these two cordyceps are on a different species of moth pupae. You can see this one has this like kind of pointy thing at the end, and it's a darker brown than this one. It's a lighter brown, has no little spiky point thing on the back end of it. So we have two different species of moth pupae that we have these cordyceps mushrooms growing on right now. A little bit of variation you'll see is the ones that are growing on these ones with the spiky backs and the spiky little thorax area here are a little bit lighter orange than this one that's growing on this different species of moth pupae. So just a couple things to note. I'm not entirely sure which species are which. I would love to work with some entomologists moving forward. But yeah, just a little side note I'd like to add. And you know, as always, propagate in mycelium.